Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now the Bitcoin price is contacting a very important line of support while the Bitcoin market is falling back into extreme fear. But let's talk about that in just a moment, because first of all, looking on the 2-hour Bitcoin charts, we are currently forming a small bullish divergence between the price and the RSI, and also in the MACD as well. And this simply means that the Bitcoin bears, at least in the immediate short term, are losing some of this bearish momentum. And so when you're talking about the immediate short term, we could be due for a little bit more sideways price action, or perhaps a slight move back to the upside. But here on the 4-hour Bitcoin chart, we are not seeing the same bullish divergence, at least just yet. But what we are seeing is the RSI getting very close to oversold territories. In fact, just yesterday, as I said in my last Bitcoin update video, we did indeed enter into oversold territories for a brief amount of time. And so obviously, if you watched my last Bitcoin update video, you would know that yesterday I said the Bitcoin price is reaching its downside limit, as in the room to the downside in the immediate short term is somewhat limited while the RSI is in oversold territories. And that's exactly what we've seen over the past one day. The price has relatively held those levels. But one potential risk to pay attention to if we do end up seeing a bit more of a sideways consolidation or even a slight bounce back to the upside, anything like that would reset the RSI on the smaller timeframes back towards neutral areas. And then that would technically give us some more room to the downside later on if we are to stay in this short-term bearish trend. And just taking a look at the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index today, it is sitting in extreme fear, which personally I use that as a buy signal for Bitcoin, because if you're taking a look at this chart right here, this is the Bitcoin price on the daily time frame dating back since around the beginning of 2018, and the dark red dots were the days that the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index was sitting in extreme fear. And then on the flip side, these green dots were the days that the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index was sitting towards greed and extreme greed. Now, I want to make it clear that I would not be going all into Bitcoin the moment we see one day in extreme fear, and I would not be selling everything the moment we see some extreme greed, because what we normally see is a bunch of extreme fear grouped together towards Bitcoin bottoms, and we normally see a lot of extreme greed grouped together towards Bitcoin tops. So historically speaking, and according to this indicator right here, one of the best Bitcoin strategies was simply to dollar cost average into Bitcoin while we were sitting in extreme fear, and then take some profits off the table or dollar cost average out of Bitcoin when we're sitting into extreme greed. But I want to make it clear that that is not personal financial advice. That is just telling you a strategy that has worked throughout history for Bitcoin according to this Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index. And right now I am accumulating more Bitcoin. But even though I am accumulating some Bitcoin now, that does not mean that we can't go lower, because obviously here on the 12-hour Bitcoin chart, looking in the parabolic stop and reverse indicator, we are still sitting in the red, and also the current trend on the 12-hour chart is technically a downtrend, as I discussed yesterday. So that is something that Bitcoin traders and investors should be aware of. But looking on the daily time frame for Bitcoin, we have two major points of support here. Our first level of support is coming in at around 39,500. Obviously, that is nothing new for the subscribers out there, because we have already found major support at around 39,500 back around a month ago, and also at the end of the September correction. But if the Bitcoin price starts dropping below around 39,000, which is a possibility, then in that case, the next level of support would be coming into play at approximately 37,000, because we have already found some support at around 37,000 US dollars per Bitcoin back in early August last year. And also only at the beginning of this month, we saw another retest of the 37K level, and we held that level as support. And not only that, but when you're zooming in on the chart and bringing out the Fibonacci retracement tool from this low up to this high, when you're on the logarithmic Bitcoin chart, the golden pocket, which is the most important Fibonacci level, is coming in at approximately $37,000. And what is very interesting is even after we've seen a few days worth of bearish price action, the Bitcoin short positions on the Bybit exchange are continuing to decrease. And by the way, if you are new to the channel, this indicator right here shows us the percentage of Bitcoin short positions on the Bybit exchange. And basically, if we continue to see a downtrend on the larger time frames in these Bitcoin short positions on the Bybit exchange, then that would simply be bullish for the Bitcoin price while that is happening. For example, you can see what happened back in October last year, and also what happened at the end of 2020 leading into the beginning of 2021. So like I said, if this continues as it is, that does give us some hope here for Bitcoin. And something else that is still looking good is of course the parabolic stop and reverse indicator on the 4-day time frame, which is still in the green. But I've already talked about this chart quite a lot in some other recent Bitcoin update videos. So if you are new to the channel and you want more of an explanation on what this actually means, definitely check out one of my last Bitcoin update videos on this channel. But as a part of staying neutral and not having a bullish or a bearish bias, if we're looking at any bullish patterns or indicators, we also need to be aware of bearish patterns and indicators. For example, what is happening in the S&P 500 index on the daily time frame. The formation that we have right here definitely resembles a head and shoulders pattern, which is technically a bearish pattern. But I want to make it clear that head and shoulders patterns do not confirm until we break below the neckline. And for the S&P 500 index, that is sitting at around 4.3k approximately. So when the stock markets open back up again next week, it's definitely going to be very interesting to see what plays out. And ideally for any bulls out there, if the stock market holds these levels and basically forms a double bottom here, then that would probably be the most bullish scenario possible. But if the stock market breaks below the January lows, then that would obviously not be good for the stock market, and also that would not be good for crypto. And one of the reasons why that's not really good for crypto is because if the stock market is going down, usually that means the dollar is going up. And I explained how this affects the Bitcoin price in more detail in my last Bitcoin update video. So once again, if you are new to the channel, definitely check that video out. But also don't forget about this bearish divergence on the US dollar currency index on the 2-day time frame. And so if this can result in some bearish price action in the US dollar currency index, then that would really help Bitcoin in a potential recovery to the upside. And if you want to stay up to date in the crypto markets at all times, make sure you follow me over on my Twitter, and the link to my Twitter is in the description down below and also in the pinned comment. And right next to my Twitter, you'll find a link to my new Instagram if you want to get bonus content over there as well. Once again, linked down below. Anyway, if you found this video useful, please make sure to leave a like down below. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe with notifications turned on for more updates just like this every single day. And I also have a couple videos popping up right here on your screen if you were interested in making more money in the crypto markets. But other than that, that is it for this update. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.